Having bad habits in life, and certainly in art, is crippling. It's like playing a game on insane mode while everybody else is playing on easy mode. It's a sure way to never improve at art. So in this week's episode of YouTube Art School, I'll show you some the best habits that you can possibly adopt if you're looking to improve your art at record speed instead. That's much better. And just for context, what do I know? I'm just a silly art YouTuber. But I've also been a professional artist most of my adult life, over 22 years, and an art teacher for over 10 years. And these 8 habits that we'll go over are tried and tested. Those I consider the most significant at developing fast and well as an artist, long term. And there will likely be some or many of them that you're not doing, but well, habits become habits with enough repetition and time, so it's never too late to fix things up. Alright, so of course, feel free to ignore everything I'm about to go over if you never want to improve, but if you do want to improve, here's the good stuff. So the first habit is to show up. Just like, when you're trying to build muscle, as artists, we learn by doing with repetition. So just like you can't get swole if all you do is go to the gym and just hang out, and take selfies next to some weights. Well, you can't get better at art by just watching YouTube videos. Now, I will say watching videos on how to draw does help a ton, but you gotta put in the work to clock in the hours or it's just entertainment. Drawing is not a spectator sport. You can cram all the theory you want in your brain, but if you don't show up and practice, it won't matter much. Now, a lot of people will tell you that you have to draw every day. I don't agree. I myself don't draw every day, but I will, however, recommend doing something art related every day. So this helps keep your artist brain active and engaged at all times. Like it could be sketching for just 10 minutes, of course, or practicing gesture drawings, studying how light hits objects around you, or even just doodling while watching TV. Actually, cooking and anything creative would actually count towards this. The key is just keeping that artistic part of your brain switched on. So just think of it like this. If you completely stop using your drawing muscles for a week, it takes way longer to get back into the flow than if you just did something small each day. Even 5 minutes of sketching is better than nothing. Your artistic momentum stays alive, and momentum is everything when you're learning. Next, the child's approach is essentially to never assume you know enough as an artist. There's always more to learn, so it's to approach learning art like a kid, without ego, without being ever defensive about your current skill level. And that's hard, I get it, but you know how kids seem to pick up everything faster, like languages, skills? Here's why. They don't fear making mistakes. When learning to talk or write, they know that if they mess up, some adult will just correct them, and so they just keep trying. They're not embarrassed about being beginners. As we grow up though, we start putting up walls, we become less receptive to feedback, we feel maybe ashamed if we're not good at something, and many of us just stop asking for help. And of course, as a result, this will slow down learning tremendously. We're not getting that feedback loop anymore. So until you're a master artist, do not be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to ask for specific help. Actually, don't even do it if you become a master. There's always more to learn. But when posting online, instead of just asking, what do people think? Or do they have general feedback? I would personally recommend that you start asking very specific questions. Like, how can I improve the proportions of this character? Or what's wrong with the lighting here? This is way more likely to get engagement rather than just asking an open-ended question. But yeah, make seeking concrete feedback a priority. Look at art Discord servers, forums, or communities where people actually help each other improve. I know I often repeat this in one way or another in my videos, but that's just because of how important this is. Now, the next habit is to make space for creative time. So the idea here is that we tend to do things we set time aside for. Like if you have a massage appointment every week, you're probably gonna go, right? Because you've been planning the rest of your days around it. If something gets scheduled, we subconsciously prepare to allocate time to it. So do that with art. Set aside a specific time every week where you know you'll be sitting down and working on something artistic. Maybe it's Saturday mornings or 30 minutes before bed. When you know it's coming, it's funny how we tend to mentally prepare for it. And you're way less likely to just stare at a blank canvas not knowing what to do as a result, because your brain will actually start planning what to work on during that time before ever sitting down. So schedule it. Now, the fourth habit is to take observation breaks. This is actually one of the first assignments that I give students in my art school program. something that I recommend doing long-term until it becomes second nature. I believe 100% that observation is the most important art skill out of anything. The most important. So here's what you should do if you actually want to get good while you're not actually drawing. You set an alarm on your phone once a day, and then when it rings, take 5 whole minutes and deliberately observe something around you as if you were going to draw it. You don't actually have to draw it, but just with the intention that you will. So look at, I don't know, like your hand, a coffee mug, a plant, anything nearby really. And ask yourself questions like, what basic shape is this? How would I shape this if I were drawing it? How would I simplify it using just line art? Is the surface smooth, or would I need to introduce some texture? Where are the cast shadows falling? And it won't take long before this becomes something that you do naturally. And the positive impact that it'll have on your art is massive. You'll start seeing the world like an artist automatically. And it's just one of those things that will unlock a ton of growth potential for you. Now, something else that would have a mega impact on your art is picking up my art program with the link in the video description. Like over 29,000 other students have so far. And we're celebrating reaching this insane milestone this month with a huge discount on the full price. So check the link below to know exactly when the sale ends, read the reviews, check out the video trailer for all the details. It's the best investment in yourself you can possibly make as an artist, regardless of your skill level. We also have an awesome Discord community to hang out with other like-minded people serious about their art and driven to get better. So yeah, check it out down below and don't miss out on the big discounts going away soon. The 5th habit will be to value inspiration. Inspiration comes and goes. You know, and I'm sure you've had times where you weren't particularly inspired, but then other times something happens, like you see something and it gives you this urge to draw or paint. It's just not always there when you need it. You can't force it to happen, but you can definitely set yourself up to catch it when it does. Because inspiration is such an unpredictable thing for artists, always be ready to capture it. You can start by always carrying a small sketchbook wherever you go, so you can always whip it out and capture your idea when it comes to you, either with a sketch or a note, but also put yourself in situations that are more likely to spark inspiration. Go to new places, try different activities, touch grass, watch movies outside your usual genre, visit museums, take walks in different neighborhoods. New experiences feed your artistic brain with fresh ideas, and when we're inspired, there's nothing more fun than doing art. Value that inspiration, but help yourself foster it too. Now, when it comes to learning from other artists, focus on how they make their art rather than just the final pretty picture. Watch artists work step by step through time lapses, just like what you're doing now. Good job. Watch tutorials or live streams, even better if they explain what they're thinking while working. For most people, unless you're pretty advanced, there's almost no learning value in just looking at a finished masterpiece and thinking, wow, that's so great. But there is incredible value in seeing how that masterpiece was built, what kind of process or method they worked with, how they solved the problems that they encountered, and what mistakes they made, and how did they fix them. Process over results, always. That's where the real learning happens. And now the 7th habit, and we're almost done. Focus on your own art progress more than you focus on other people's art. I think we all know this one, but just putting it in practice is always a little more challenging. Now, I'm sure you'll agree it feels amazing to look at your old drawings and see just how much you've improved over the past year or years. If you've improved, obviously. But it feels pretty bad to constantly compare your art to someone who's got way more experience than you do, like 10 plus years of drawing versus you that just kind of started. Usually that's not a good feeling. So do more of what feels good for your motivation. It's okay to look at other artists for inspiration and reference, but limit your time scrolling through amazing art on Instagram or, wherever. Set a timer, like maybe 15 minutes max per day, and spend the rest of your time actually creating or studying, not just consuming. That's another habit that comes up often in my videos, but it's really important. And then finally, the 8th habit is to keep a good portion of your work private, for your eyes only. What? Or at least with the intention of it being private for now. And I know this might sound weird when everybody says, post everything online, But hear me out. When you always create art to post online, you start unconsciously creating what you think other people want to see rather than what you want to create. I suffer from the same thing. I'm sure everybody does. Over time, this really messes up your relationship with art. It becomes a game of getting likes and comments rather than truly enjoying the process and being happy with your own results. So I know for most people it can be black and white, but try this. Like for every piece you post online, create just one for yourself. Or like every 2 pieces you post online, create one for yourself. Whatever the ratio is. Maybe you're experimenting with a weird style, like practicing something that you're bad at, or just drawing something you find personally interesting. This keeps your passion alive and it lets you take creative risks, without worrying about what others think. And that's important. And that's gonna be the end of this week's class. So let me know if you have other habits that you think I should have included. I hope this was helpful as always. Let me know in the comments below if it did help. And with those good habits in mind, maybe the next step should be to come up with a plan to learn to draw if you're not really sure how to progress. Like what to focus on first, and then second and third. And I just have the class for you. Check out this other video showing you the best path you can take as an artist. It'll be up on screen in a second, and I'll see you over there.